Hello everybody, and welcome to a video on a camera that is not digital, not modern, and still is, well, it's something that you will find in a similar way, in a similar look right now, because maybe you've seen my previous video on the Ricoh GR, and this is the predecessor and the origin of the form factor that you find in the Ricoh GR, in the digital GR. This is the Ricoh GR1v version, and it's a beautiful, fantastic little camera. I got hold of this camera because I saw it I had seen a video on this camera on YouTube made by somebody, I don't quite remember who it was, and they claimed it was a really good camera. That's a few years ago. And then walking through a small camera store in Austria, I found it in their used section, and I got it for a very good price. If you look on eBay, these cameras go for several $100 or euros. They're quite sought after, and because they're really good cameras. Not being a digital camera, the quality is reduced basically to the lens and to the form factor and to the functions it has, even though the functions are basically not so much of an issue. But this camera has a few little things that make it special and make it very nice to use in a way, let's say for street photography, things like that. Basics, first we have it's a 35mm film camera. It has a fixed focal length of 28mm and an aperture of 2.8, and it has the option to be used in aperture priority. Let me just see if I can show you. Okay, you have this wheel. You can set it to P, which is program mode, or you can set it to the single apertures. The last position after 22, it goes in half stops. The last position is the ISO setting, because you can override the DX coding. The camera has DX coding, but you can override it by turning the wheel to ISO and then moving this one, these buttons, onto the desired position. For everything else, I usually use it on P unless I want to have some shallow depth of field. Then I will put it to like 2.8. However, since I usually push the film I put in here, 2.8, if you're outdoors, will mostly not work. I push it because I use it for street photography, so I need it quickly, I need it fast, and that helps in that. You have another dial up here that is for exposure correction, and it goes in half stops from +2 to -2, and it's quite easy to reach it. Then on the back you have the switch for the built-in flash, from the off position to the auto position and to fill flash. It's nice because compared to many other let's call them point and shoot cameras, you will be able to switch the flash off, and many others, when you turn them on, by default they're in auto flash, and I like it to be off. Usually I hardly ever use it with a flash. This is the switch to turn the camera on. Some paint came off here, so you don't really see what it is, but you have, for the exposure and the flash, two little LEDs as indicators. Then you have the little window that shows you what film is inside. Then you have the shutter release button up here, and then you have the self-timer button and a mode button. As I've shown you on the ISO settings, these can also be like basically plus or minus. So this button will switch to self-timer, T-exposure, and auto bracketing. It has a bracketing function where it allows you to shoot 3 frames with different settings. and then you have the mode dial, and that is mostly for the metering, for the autofocus. It can be set to infinity. It can be set to spot metering, and it can be set to snap metering. Snap metering is basically it will shoot off without measuring the distance at a predefined distance. What you can also do with this camera is manual focusing up to a certain extent, because what you can do is when you're in the spot metering mode, you hold the mode button and it will switch to the distance. So you can set 5 meters infinity, 1 meter, 2 meters, 3 meters, 5 meters infinity again. Yeah. And then you hold it again and it will go out to snap mode, and if you press it again it will go to normal metering. Normal metering means autofocus. What else can I say about this camera? It's really a nice camera. Every now and then it shows some issues with the LCD screen. Now obviously it does not, but every now and then some parts of the LCD fade out. But they usually come back. I haven't been able to determine exactly what makes them come back, if it's humidity issues, the contacts, or whatever. For me, it has always solved itself in a certain way. I've heard others who had to try and get it fixed. It seems to be possible to get it fixed even though the camera is obviously discontinued. Oh, one more thing I forgot. You can superimpose some things onto the film. I absolutely do not do it, but you can do it here, and you can superimpose the date. You can superimpose the date in different formats, or the time. I obviously don't do that because I want to scan them, and well, if you process them digitally after developing the film, you will not need this kind of stuff. So this is basically my quick review of the Ricoh GR1v. There are other versions. I own only this one, so I cannot really tell you what the exact differences are. As far as I understood, the lens is basically the same in all GR1 versions. The V and the S have some additional functions. The V seems to be the last and top of the line. Then there's one more, and that is the GR21, and that's a 21mm lens. That's even rarer. Honestly, I don't know, 21mm seems to be a little extreme in a camera like this, so I'm quite happy with this one, and I actually shoot it quite a lot. If after this video you will see some sample pictures I've taken with this camera. As I said, if you get hold of one and you like this style of photography, you will definitely be very happy with this one. Thank you very much, and see you back here soon.